What's going on? YouTube, happy Saturday. I hope you guys are all chilling like I am chilling. Right, video suggestion here. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be wild. I'm gonna wait a few moments for you guys to come in, and then I want to check my playback, make sure that we are good to go. Salute to you, Chaotic Live. Salute Breeze. Salute to you. Salute to you. All right, so I'm gonna get right into the video. Because we are live. I can see it. All right, let's get this one.
Funny stat, why you're going to think we're not voting our way out of this. 23% of Americans think chocolate milk comes from chocolate cows.
Wow, that's crazy. So, like, I guess strawberry milk comes from strawberry cows too.
Yeah. Well,
how do you believe? Like, how
crazy.
do you not know
Oh, that's
that?
the same shit. That's the same shit they say about people who believe that they actually put medicine inside of glasses. You know, it's the same shit. So
what?
We're fucking cooked, yeah.
Medicine and glass. That video on X of those two guys from New.
Oh my god, dude.
If they think that chocolate milk comes from chocolate cows.
But basically fucking you over by contract.
Yeah, because the leaders, the presidents and shit just take all the money. You're like, well, fuck the rest of you guys. I've already got my shit, and they move to another country.
Pretty much. We got to think, because the way Africa is set up, it's like one nation has 30 tribes. So whoever tribe leaders in.
What is he talking about? One nation has 30 tribes, and whoever tribal leader. See, you know, if you don't know about a place, I know this is YouTube and everybody makes commentary and, you know, everybody has their opinions on things, but, and I'm not racist at all, bro. I don't even like to use race as an example. I use education, exposure, and travel. I weigh those three things higher than anything else. You can be the pinkiest motherfucker on the planet and still be the dumbest, okay? So I don't equate white folks automatically to being smart, because you guys, like, just when we started the video, you could tell they said some Americans think that chocolate comes from cows, okay? I would believe that because I know what the I got kids in the K through 12 system. So I know what the education system looks like at the K through 12 level. Now it gets better in college. It really does get better in college, and it scales up tremendously. But also what I've noticed with college is that it's not just Americans. It's a lot of Southeast Asians. That was my experience. It's a lot of Southeast Asians. It's a lot of different groups. Actually, the native population tends to be very shrinks the higher you go in college. You see a lot of them doing undergrad, but once you get into grad school, they are almost not existent. Okay, so these conversations are, if you're gonna speak on an entire continent, which again I keep pushing back on this bullshit because it feels like Americans have just not figured out yet. They know, they've read about it, but they cannot contextualize what a continent is. And I always use their continent as an example because this is, in terms of number of countries, this is one of the smallest, if not the smallest. Okay, so North America is the smallest. It only has Canada and the United States, and some people add Mexico to it. Okay, If that is the case, because parts of Mexico will start falling into Central America, if that is the case, then these guys are speaking as if Canada and the US and Mexico all have a lot of things in common, and not really, they don't. Canada and the US much closer, but still doesn't. Why do I say that? Well, the Canadians use a different currency, right? The Canadian dollar is different. The Canadians have provinces instead of states. The Canadians use a different unit of measurement. They still have the British system, I think metric and imperial. So they're doing kilometers. Here we're doing miles, right? So the unit of measurement is different. I think if you go to the bars, they're still using pints to measure the alcohol, and when you buy beer at the pubs in Canada. So even between Canada and the US, there's still a lot of differences. Okay, things are done completely different. They have a parliamentary based system. They don't have a president. They have prime ministers. So they have a British parliamentary based system. The Americans have a completely different system in terms of the legislature, right? So this is what you guys are attempting to do when you speak on Africa. Kenya, a Ghanaian can get culture shock when he goes to Kenya for the first time. A Kenyan will get culture shock when he goes to Ghana for the first time. But I'm not going to take offense at this. It's more or less intellectual laziness. But again, if you don't know about these issues, you're best not speaking on it. Okay? You're best not speaking on it. They sound like idiots when they try to. I know the end goal. The end goal is to paint this picture, a medieval picture of Africa and Africans. We are very aware. Okay, I don't know any African that isn't aware. We are the most shitted on continent on the planet. So every African knows what goes on. Every African understands Africa's problems. And we don't mask it. It's out there. I haven't seen a single media outlet that says anything positive about us. So go ahead and say the negativities, no issues, but at least be factual and be informed and or read about it. If you haven't read about it, if you haven't traveled to the place, you're an idiot. You're just speaking because that's what you feel like. And, the blacks in America would start to add isms to people that act like this. I don't. I think this guy is just ignorant. He's stupid. I've watched a few of his other videos. He's trying to pick on some topics to project intelligence, but he's not an intelligent dude, man. And I'll explain to you what I mean by that based on some of the content that he's done, okay? These are not smart people. Let's go.
In there and the president, if he gets his money, his tribe's good and the rest can go fuck off. So it's like this roulette of one person and one tribe getting
Indians
something.
and casinos.
Yeah, pretty much.
Her family, it's like fuck all the other families on the reservation.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's why Africa.
It's all a bunch of Americans that are talking to this guy. He says one of them is an aid worker. The thing with aid workers, a lot of them go there already with the assumption that the people are poor. Anyone from Africa that is listening to me, you guys know aid workers target specific parts of a place in Africa to go to. They would typically go to where the aid is needed, which is the poorest and the most struggling parts of our societies. What is an aid worker going to do in Banana Island or Lekki or Santon, or Maputo or Johannesburg or Cape Town, Lusaka, Nairobi? That's not where they are going, okay? They go really inside where there's almost no resources, okay? And that is just a product of capitalism. I can show you a bunch of places in America that may look a little bit worse than some of these same places that these aid workers leave America as if America doesn't need help. And then they go to these places and go to the most destitute part. Okay, we welcome the help. But they come back and they report as if the rest of Africa is like that. This dude has not been to Africa. He doesn't even know probably where it is on the map, okay? And again, I have reasons to say that because I'll show it to you. I've seen a few clips of him. I'll show it to you.
Never change, dude. Africa will
it's not.
change.
Never will.
Yeah, once
Never
all
will.
its borders dissolve and they reform by tribe. It's the only way.
Everybody who's from Africa.
That's just stupid. What do you mean borders resolved by tribes? The Ewe tribe in Togo is completely different from the Ewe tribe in Ghana. They speak a different dialect of the Ewe language. The tribes are no longer relevant. We have national identities now. It's like me saying the Europeans should dissolve their borders and be one big European family. You have to, this is where we are now. It's not going to change. This fake Western ideology of forming like one homogeneous African country is stupid because look at all the other continents. Why should we be the only ones that are doing it? Is it because we are all black people? It's like saying the Asians should all erase their borders because their borders was also influenced by colonialism. India was colonized by the British. So why wouldn't the Asians dissolve their borders? Clearly, there's an economic divide in Asia. The Southeast Asians are poorer than the East Asians, okay? China, Japan, and Korea are much better off than Philippines, Thailand, Laos, Cambodia. Why is nobody telling them to dissolve into this one country? And in your backyard, why wouldn't you let the Mexicans in? Wouldn't that be nice, right? That would be nice. We know how you guys are treating the Mexicans. Would you want the Mexicans to come in? Probably not, right? So apply the same conditions to yourself. And you're going to say, well, it's because you guys are not developed. We're developing at our own pace. Most of our nations are 50 to 60 years old, okay? And I don't want to, again, draw an equivalent to what Black Americans do, but you guys really exploited a lot of our resources. It's not even up for debate. And the reason that is true is my mom was alive at the time when this exploitation was going on. This does not date back 400 years. This was an exploitation that went on when my mom was alive, okay? Some of these countries are only 50 years old, 55 years old, you know? And I got news for you. Some people won't believe this. Did you know, and this is good for my American friends, you know, when I was preparing for this, I was like, I'm going to write this down so that I don't forget, okay? I'll cut to this and I'll show it to you guys because this is what we do here. And I want to bring on a panel, so I'll try to be very brief with this guy's video and I'll bring you guys on. So this is how Ghana generates electricity, okay? This is how Ghana generates electricity. It's on this, let me see if I can get an image of it. This is right here. So this is Ghana's primary electricity generation source, okay? And I'm only using Ghana as an example, but this example is very common across all of Sub-Saharan Africa, okay? So this is our electricity generation plant. It's on a river called the Volta River, okay? The Volta River being one of the largest in the Volta River, which became the Volta Lake. The Volta Lake is man-made, okay? So it's human-made. The Volta River is a natural river that flows from parts of Burkina Faso, and then its tributaries divert, and then it comes all the way down to the Atlantic Ocean. When it gets into this mountainous, it goes through some mountains and then it comes down to flatland. When it gets into that little, we call it like the plains. When it gets into these plains in eastern Ghana, the Ghanaians trap it in a dam, and that force that generates from the dam is what generates hydroelectric power. This plant was completed, let's go back, I think it was completed in 1965, okay? Under Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. The colonialists did not leave electricity in Africa. They did not develop Africa. To the contrary, here in America, these things are built here, right? The colonialists, when we gain independence, it's like when somebody gets how people react in a bad relationship, okay? When you get a breakup, oh, give you my thing back, let me blow up what I can. I get mad and I leave, okay? These projects, with the help of the Soviets, I give the Russians some help, I gave us some help. These projects is what powered Ghana's electricity 100% up until maybe 10 years ago, we started integrating other sources of electricity. The reason I bring this up is here in the West, when we talk about these Black American and African debates, and a lot of them are not read, right? They don't understand how these things work, and a lot of them haven't built anything, okay? These were built mostly by Ghanaian engineers, with engineering help from the Russians. I don't think the Chinese were there yet, but it was a little bit of Soviet. Most of them had gone to the Soviet Union to be educated. When they came back with the Soviets, they were able to build these plants, okay? And this process was repeated across most of African countries. The reason I'm using Ghana as an example is because I'm from Ghana. And then secondly, Ghana was the first to gain independence, okay? So then a lot of what Ghana's achievement was repeated by subsequent countries on the continent. So people here would think, oh yeah, because we were colonized, our streets were built by them, our homes were built by them. No, they didn't leave us much. The things they left are the things you go over there to see when you go on holiday. The forts and the castles. The forts and the castles is things they did for themselves. They were more interested in themselves, and they were all strategically placed on the coast so that they can export faster, straight to port. That's why they were strategically placed on the coast of Ghana. All their buildings and their forts, from the Dutch, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the Danes, and then it got sold to the British. All that transition, the forts that they built for their kings and their governors were on the coast of Ghana. They were beachfront properties, this is what you want to call it, okay? So, for example, the Cape Coast Castle, the Elmina Castle, all of them are on the coast. And it wasn't just to facilitate slave trade. Slave was a commodity. It was also to facilitate the exploitation of minerals. So they didn't leave us shit. They were kicked out. Okay? Our independence was a fight and a struggle. They were kicked out. They didn't want to leave. They were kicked out. So this Western narrative that the Europeans left us something and we screwed it up, no, that's not true. A lot of our infrastructure was built by us. If you look at the picture of Accra, we gained independence in 1957. If we look for any image of Accra in 1956, I hope there are some images somewhere. This was 1956 Accra. A few buildings there, it wasn't any, if you go to any African capital cities that was British colonized, a lot of the cities look like this in a small main street area, okay? Which a lot of these main streets are not even used right now. I wish there are more images of what Accra was like. There's not very many. Some of these buildings are still there. Some of these buildings that you're seeing, they are still there in the same shape they left it. But then if you go to look at what Accra is in 2026, it's completely different. It's not even like, this has no colonial impact. Let me see if I'm showing the right screen. Oh my God, I'm not sharing the right screen. I am not sharing the right screen. Let's go. I thought I was using my normal software that has all these things. So all that Kosovo dumb things, you didn't see it. But anyway, this is Accra today, and this is Accra in 1956. Like then, there's not a lot of footage from then, but if you look at some of the infrastructure, it's colonial British style. It wasn't a big span. I don't think Accra even had 300,000 people at the time. Right now, Accra maybe has 7 to 10 million people. It's a much bigger city now. And what I was showing you earlier that you didn't see is the Akosombo Dam. This thing is the infrastructure that I was talking to you guys about earlier, but I didn't show the footage. This was built in 1965. It was not built by the British. We had to do this with Soviet help, and Ghanaians are trained in the Soviet Union, okay? So a lot of our infrastructure is done by us. It's not done by these people, just to the contrary of what people have been told. We did a lot of these things ourselves. So our nations are still young. Can it be better? Can it be faster? Yes. But we're not here pretending or selling people this idea that Africa is so nice and so awesome and it has no problems. I've never heard a single African say that. But what I push back on is they make it sound like there is no advantages to living there. That as soon as you arrive there, is this dump with disease and animals and struggle and poverty. No, it's not like that, And it's sad that we still have to see. I think for the rest of my life, we're gonna have to keep explaining this, even if we develop all the way, because we have cities that are fully developed, like Cape Town, right? Even if we develop all the way, like Cape Town, Pretoria, Johannesburg, and even Dar es Salaam, right, and Nairobi. They still will find that one small pocket, because you can tell from his thumbnail that was the best picture that this idiot could show the rest of the world. Okay, that's the best thumbnail he could show from a conversation with an aid worker. That's him throwing cheap shots at us. And I've seen him do this consistently, and nobody challenges him. And he's probably gonna see this. I tagged him in it, so that he understands that there are more complex layers of what it means to be African. And if you're not educated about it, just don't talk about it. Unless he takes a trip and comes back and reports his personal experience, he should not use his ignorant self to sit on the internet and just tell lies to a bunch of people. It's just stupid. And people, you see, this guy has there's a lot of black people that listen to this guy, but for other reasons, which I'm going to get on before I bring the panel on. There's a lot of things that this guy says that black folks like. So he has some black folks in his audience too. I see it in the comment sections and stuff when they do these topics. But he's taking particular interest in Frank Zanu and Africa and some of the things that Zanu talks about. I think he's trying to learn through Zanu, but Zanu is not 100% right about stuff that he talks about. Okay, something's true, but something's not. Zanu draws equalities between the blacks all over the globe, and I don't think that's true. Okay, and that's a discussion for another day. We'll catch a little bit of this, and then I'll get the panel on a little bit earlier. But let's catch a little bit of this.
At least that I know in my family or just extended, they're like, yeah, fuck Africa, honestly. That's like their whole, no, seriously, like they're just like, yeah, fuck Africa. They're like, it's not even worth it's investing any money into. They're like, nothing's going to change. They're like, it's beautiful. It has a ton of resources, it'd be great for tourism if it was actually safe and shit like that. But just in general, they're like, it's never.
This is an idiot talking. Safe for tourism if it's actually safe or not. Africa is much safer than most cities in the US. If you look at it collectively as a continent, if you take 54 countries, I can maybe sideline 10 of them that are dangerous because of wars that are ongoing. But we cannot all get it right. I can't be blamed for Congo's problems. And I don't know the layers that goes on into why these guys are fighting perpetually. okay? I don't take sides in the Congolese conflict. I don't take sides in the Sudanese conflict. I don't want to even blame Western powers for this, because in 2026, as a collective, we can look at each other and see examples of some countries that are doing it right and just emulate that. It's that easy. The Congolese can look at Ghana and say, man, these Ghanaians have a democracy. They change political parties every 4 years. They have much safer elections. There's not a Charlie Kirk example in Ghanaian politics. We're not shooting our politicians. You guys are. Here in the US, you guys are. So you make it sound like people, you mask your own little things and then you dump on the Africans as if you're doing it like you're this perfect union. No, you're not. Men don't get along with women, which this man has spent his whole YouTube lifestyle pushing hatred towards women. That's what he's done. His content is about shitting on women. That's how people watch him. People watch him because of rage and the fact that he spends this man has built no skill, has no work experience. All he has is the internet, sits on the internet, and he dumps on women all day for years. Has not improved. All these people have the same backgrounds. The black folks that do this shit, the white folks that do this shit, they are the same, man. White folks can be deadbeats too. Who said they cannot? You know, white folks can have the same, sometimes the same similar traumas than the black folks do. It's a battle of the classes. It's a battle of the classes. It's not just race. It's a battle of the classes. And there's a lot of them. I'm going to show you some, okay? Because they seem to think that they are untouchable. No, motherfucker. If you're going to talk about my people like that, then we'll bring the same smoke. I'm an equal opportunity smoke giver, okay? And these are shit people. People that behave like this, they are shit people, okay? His whole channel, 600,000 subs, has not a single positive commentary, positive news, not even one good news report on his entire YouTube channel. Okay, I'm gonna show it to you. Talking about Africa is dangerous. We have cities that are so safe. My kids were at the mall in Lusaka at 10 at night. No big deal. No big deal. Okay, this idiot, where is he? You know, see the videos he does. Africa IQ test goes viral. I could take a test with him. After I heard a few comments about what he's talking about, yeah, okay, I'll take a mass quiz with you. I'll take a test with you. If that's what you believe, okay? Yeah, we have the rural areas, and these tests are standardized based on Western education. You think these guys didn't have informal African education? How they raise their children, how they farm, the farming practices. You think your white folks taught them how to do it? How they were hunting and gathering food, the methodology of building a bow and an arrow, the tools they use to farm, even if it's a subsistence and it's at small scale. They were culturally independent before your folks came over there and disturbed their way of life. Okay? So people like this idiot should not be talking about the Africans. Okay? See, some veil has been lifted in the US where you get these white guys, especially the red pill guys, the red pill white guys, think that because of the political climate in America nowadays, they can talk about anything. I see these people talk about things that were very taboo to talk about as a white guy in America. Okay? I don't see the return fire from black folks. So this is why I'm like, are these black guys like scared of these people? No, you got to pick scenarios like this and punch back, because they're not all perfect like that. They are struggling too. Okay. They are. I'm going to show you some of their L's. See, I know they are struggling, and I'm talking about the white folks right now, because they've also been segregated in classes, political classes. They have their elites and they have the bombs. Okay, and these guys are the product of the bombs. I don't care how big his YouTube channel is, and I'll show you. I'm not saying this because I haven't done any research on him. I know exactly why I'm telling you that. Okay. He is an unskilled man. He has not held a job in the US before he got on social media. Okay, he hasn't. I was looking up some stuff. So his only skill is right here, sitting on the internet talking about bullshit, unresearched. That's one of the skills he has. Okay, this is why I say stay in your lane, buddy. All right, keep talking about women, hypergamy, gender wars. That's what your specialty is. Don't dive into shit you don't know about, because you sound like an idiot. Okay? So I'm making this a warning, because if you want to go to war, I'll go to war with you, bro. If you want to go to war, I'll go to war with you. But if you ever watch this video, I want to make this a warning to you to keep Africa out of your fucking mouth, all right? Keep Africa out of your fucking mouth. It should not be a topic you should be discussing. And I'll tell you exactly why you should not be discussing it, all right? Because you have a background close to, you're living in a place very similar to a place that I consider myself grew up in, okay? He's from Eastern Europe, so he's American of Eastern European descent, all right? Eastern Europeans can be very good academically. Science, physics, chemistry, one of the best. But Eastern Europeans are also the most ignorant when it comes to social issues and personal issues. They are not relatable. They are very wicked people. That's the best way I can put it, all right? When I lived in Russia, a lot of Russians would ask me certain questions about Africa that made me freak out. I'm like, do you guys not read? You know, and this was before the internet, so I can understand that. But this motherfucker has the internet. He lives on the internet. But he has an Eastern European gene. He grew up with Eastern, he's from Eastern Europe. Okay, he's living in Eastern Europe right now. He's American, but living in Eastern Europe right now. The Eastern Europeans are the poorest Europeans. Okay? They are the least respected Europeans. They are also the least developed Europeans. And they were economically destitute until 2005. Why do I know this? I used to wash cars with Eastern Europeans in Bedford, England, and in Bury St. Edmunds. Okay? I worked with Polish guys. I worked with Lithuanians, Latvians, you know, and I speak their language very well. I speak their language much better, 100 times better than Spanish. I went to school there. I did my entire degree in their language. So I know them. I know them from the inside. I know these people very, very well, all right? Because I was kind of part of them. I lived there. I know them from anywhere from the Eastern Bloc. Once you cross the Berlin Wall, everywhere going down into Kazakhstan, I know these people very well, and I've been there many, many times. Okay, so this guy is over here posing as if they're like he's one of these elite whites. No, you're not. You guys are the shittiest of that race. Eastern Europeans are the most underachieved Europeans. They can be the most smartest here in the head, but very severely underachieving. And I was doing these jobs as a college job in the summers. I'd go to England and pick up little jobs here and there. So I'd do odd jobs in the summers for 3 or 4 months. These Eastern Europeans were doing it because that's all they had to do. They all left Poland. If anybody remembers, in 2005, as soon as they were allowed to join the European Union, they didn't even wait 2 weeks. All them motherfuckers fled Eastern Europe. They went to Ireland, they went to England, they went to Scotland. They were working in the farm. They were doing the most low-class jobs that you can ever do. Even medical doctors were doing shitty jobs. You talk to a guy, he says, hey, I'm an engineer. I'm a this. I'm a this. Big time. They gave up big engineering jobs in Poland, in Warsaw, in all these places, and they came to the Western Europe countries, France, Germany, England, Holland, to work. They, in short, they were migrants for the most part. They were migrants. Even here in the US, if you look at migration trends, when Eastern Europeans migrate to the US versus when Western Europeans migrate to the US. When Western Europeans migrate to the US, they work certain jobs. They are usually skilled labor. When Eastern Europeans move to the US, if you ever see a white dude in a ghetto, they are from Eastern Europe, okay? When Eastern Europeans move to the US, they work shitty jobs. Let's just be honest. They work gig jobs. They do Uber jobs. If you see an Uber driver, a white dude doing Uber, and you talk to them, and they have that Eastern, Boris, you know that they are Eastern Europeans. So don't be sitting here acting like you are from this elite white to be talking about no fucking Africans, bro. And I know the reason, like I said, I am your biggest challenge here is because I lived in your country and I speak your language. And if you want to put this to test, let's put it to test, man. Come on here and defend your bullshit. You should not be doing any more videos about the African people because you don't know us and you haven't learned about us and you haven't traveled there. So what you're doing is sound bites and undertones that for somebody that looks like you, okay, now again, I'm not racist, so I don't want to go there, but Eastern Europeans tend to be very, very racist people. Let's just be honest. They're not like the Western Europeans. They're not like your regular Americans. They also are very, very shallow-minded about the world. They don't leave their cities. I know this. I lived among these people. They don't even leave their cities. So in parallel, they have some of the same problems that I sometimes have with black folks in the US, although nowadays some of them are traveling. Travel fixes a lot of your problems, and it solves some of the lack of understanding of what goes on in certain places. The Africans are trying. They're not there yet, but they're trying, man. I don't know any African home or abroad that doesn't feel a need to support and help Africa's next steps. But our development doesn't have to look like your development. We shouldn't look, because if our development starts to look like your development, this is what is going to happen, okay? This is what is going to happen, okay? This is what your community is doing with all your development. Okay? Do you ever see this shit in Africa? That's what I'm saying. Every community, every society has problems that can be easily assigned to them collectively. The goal is to minimize those problems. You can't eradicate them. In the same mind, all of Kenya is not going to look like downtown Nairobi, like the CBD. There's going to be pockets that will have issues. And as you can see here, these streets are filthy. And this is America, the most richest country on the planet. Okay? There's homes around the US that are boarded up, that are shitty and trash. So there is no Wakanda country. Every country, I don't care how rich you are or how much opportunities are out there to compete and make money. Humans are humans, and humans can be filthy sometimes, okay? And I think the Africans can really do that, because Africans are taught cleanliness at a very early age. How we get some of our towns to have all these gutters open and trash everywhere, I don't like that shit. I wish we can clean that up, because that doesn't require any money at all. That means just pick up the shit. You know, that means pick up the shit. And I told, I did that. I told you guys the story of when I went to Zambia the last time. I paid for guys to pick up shit. I'm going to do it this time. This time I'll film it. When I go this time, I'll do it again. I'll take a truck. We'll go to a place. We'll take a whole day, we'll clean up as much as we can. So we know our problems, but don't act like y'all don't have problems, man. I would rather sit in our poverty than to have this end result, because with development and overdevelopment comes a certain arrogance and confidence that you fear no power. This is why people leave marriages in America, because they don't fear the higher power. The vows we make to our spouses are enshrined in the belief of a superpower up there. Okay, this is why we make these vows. It's not about us. And it's for better or for worse, means for better or for worse for us. You work through your problems. You guys flee these problems when they show up. Some of you don't even go to the altar, because marriage is the next step of your responsibility. And this man is scared of women. This same dude that is talking about this shit, talking about all this stuff that he has for Africa. What about this? They act like, why aren't people showing a lot of this stuff to the world so they understand that there's a problem, and every society can have some type of a problem. And instead of you, maybe you should spend that aid worker could have gone over here and done some aid work. The Africans haven't called you to come there and help them out. We Africans are going to fix our own problems, because with the quote unquote help comes some of these white folks that come over there and they start touching on little girls. Okay, we know the stories. They start doing stupid things and disrespecting locals. Stay away. The same way you guys should tell us to stay away. Stay away. You've done enough damage to us. You shouldn't be coming there. And if you're coming with good intentions and you're a friend of Africa, there's a lot of Caucasians that are friends of Africa, that really love Africa and its people, and they show love and respect, and they become Africans, right? They become part of us because they culturally like who we are as African people, and they mean well. That's a good thing. But then you have these ones that sit on the outside. They never come in there. They never participate in anything that we're trying to do. And they take little cheap shots, especially when they have a platform. They take little cheap shots. You're asking us to develop. You are lying that our countries are unsafe, even though it's very safe. You're lying that our countries are unsafe. And what that does is it costs us money, because that is one tourist that you've taken away from us. And with that tourist, it's other people's jobs. Because if I heard these things about a place, then I'm not going to go. It's like the propaganda I used to hear about Haiti before learning about Capuchin. And I was like, oh, so why don't they show us that? Why don't they show us that? They show only Port-au-Prince, because Port-au-Prince is now a war zone. Everybody agrees. But Port-au-Prince is one city in Haiti. Why don't they show the other parts of Haiti? How the Haitian people gonna get the help and the support if all we see is their, L's and a lack of tourism money that comes in to help the tourism sector. A lot of these countries like Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, Botswana, maybe 20 to 30% of their GDP is tourism, man. So you sit over here with your Eastern European bullshit talking about these countries when a lot of you guys were refugees, Romanians, gypsies, been all over the damn place. A lot of you guys were, one second. Sorry, but I got interrupted. I had to help my wife with something small, but we're good. Let me bring the panel on here. Yeah. Somebody's talking about the orphanage. As if there's not so many orphans in Ghana. In Ghana, most of the times, people in a family, like a grandma or grandparent, will take care of a child if they lose both parents. And that is usually because they've lost both parents. Like, people die. Like, guys, let's not make this as if people don't die. People die. Young people die. Old people die. Mid-year people die. They haven't left to come to the U.S. and left their children in orphanages. I've never seen that. The people that you see in the West, they have built maybe some of the biggest real estate that you can ever think of. So there's no way their children is going to be in orphanages. I have friends that drive. If I show you one of my friend Bernard's house in Accra, it'll probably cost $5-6 million if you build such a house here in the U.S. These people are building big mansions in Ghana. If they had children at home, the guys in the West can, what do you need to take care of a child? $100 a month, $200 a month? Of course, they'll send money home. It's not that. Like, you got to really be very educated about these things. You can't just sit in the West. Like, a lot of these Tariq guys, they only speak because of what they've heard in their propaganda. Nobody's saying these countries are like perfect, but there's some things that culturally holds these things in place. There's your sister will take care of it. If anything were to happen to me right now, there are people in my family that would take care of my children. They'll do it, even if my wife can't. If it happened to both of us, they'll take care of them. That's just what we've done. So it's a lot of these guys are uninformed. But back to the roots, I'm not gonna be distracted by. I'm only gonna read comments of my generalists, the guys that are already always here, because people come here and they distract us. If you want me to read your comment, you have to super chat it. I'm not gonna be going through all these comments like I used to. Salute to you, Musa. E-Rock is here. Salute to you. But this same IQ debate, IQ test, is it really? There hasn't been any scientific analysis to show that having a higher score means you're gonna be you're gonna have higher achievement academically. It's not true. And I'm saying this based on experience, right? Being successful in school also requires some drive, bro. You gotta have some drive. Okay. You can be the smartest guy in the book, but if you're lazy, you don't like to learn, then you're not gonna do well. Haven't you seen a lot of smart people that just don't know how to be effective? They are there. They are smart. They can answer every calculus question in the book, but they can build shit. They are not effective people. They're just the guy that you can get an answer from when you ask them a question, but they cannot really fix or solve any problems, right? So this over-reliance on people's IQ levels, I think it's just dumb, bro. Life is, you can achieve so much academically if you read, if you do your homework, if you do what is required within the confines of that program to do well. And the same goes for everything we do in life. You can do well if you have the right tools, the right strategies, the right guidance, the right coaching. You can get through a lot of these things, right? It's just a lie. I saw on one of these Pan-African live streams yesterday, I saw some of the guys talking about, your education is bad. Your education is bad. And I'm like, what do you mean the education is bad? I did all my elementary and high school education in Ghana at a public school. Yesterday in my WhatsApp group, one of my friends got his law degree in Ghana. He became a lawyer in his 40s now in Ghana, right? He decided to go to law school. It's just your will, okay? If you don't have the will to do something, it doesn't matter what location you're put in, you're not gonna do it, okay? You're not gonna do it. It's all individual based. It's a will. You don't have the will, it's up to you, bro. But to make this like Africa don't have any universities. Makerere is a good school. There's some universities in Nairobi that are great. Most of us, and I said this on one of my other streams, most of us don't even come to the US for undergraduate education. We only come here for grad school. Like when it gets, the US gets exceptionally better when you start getting into independent study, research, more difficult or complicated disciplines, then you need that. But foundational knowledge, K through 12, I would argue that I prefer the Ghanaian system. Personally, I wish my kids would go to school in Ghana. I've been pushing my wife to come around that idea. I like the education system. My wife is an example of this. Okay, she went to school in Zambia. She did all her public education in Zambia, but she's a licensed attorney here in the U.S. So it's not like there are no great schools in Ghana. I mean, and there's a lot of Ghanaians in the chat that maybe have lived in the U.S. that are living in the U.S. that did your education in Ghana. Like almost all the guys that I personally know, Song Sori in Canada, who is a PhD, I was sitting in the same classroom as him. Yawanku, who is at Google, that went to MIT, went to the same high school as me. Paula Zunre, who we covered the other time, we went to the same elementary school together. So, and these are top AI researchers in America that went to public school in Africa. So these things are just a lie, bro. They know it's a lie. They don't want to admit it. They know it's a lie. If you go to a school like this in Ghana, you're going to have, your outcomes are going to be great. Everybody that I know people in England at the time who would bring their children here into boarding school because they didn't want them to pick up gang activity and shit like that in the US. So they took them to this school, which is like where I went to school. Great school. So you have some great institutions over there too. Now, are they Harvard level? No, they're not. But education is in the books, bro. If it's all at an individual level. If you're gonna learn, you're gonna learn. If you're not gonna learn, somebody's asking me about the 19 keys. I saw that story from Afro Think Tank. Let me go and see if I can find it. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who 19 Keys is. I'm hearing his name for the first time. I don't know these people, man. 19 Keys. Where do you want me to take it from? You want me to take Afro Think Tank's reaction to it? You know what? This guy also did a video about it. Javin Bernandez. You all should subscribe to him, man. Help him out. Pretty cool guy. Javin did a video about this, so I might pick on his video. So let me know which particular video this one is. Is it the one where he says FBS is a PSYOP, or is there like a Tariq response? So let's listen to a little bit of this.
You're right, and there's a degree of being wrong at the same time, right? So essentially, a lot of this is centered around Foundational Black Americans. That is a lineage-based group who does act like an organization or a movement with a center head, which would be Tariq Nasheed. Now, he says that he is not the head of it. It's a lineage, right? And we are not a group, but he definitely acts like, the leader of the group, if you will. And then there is the way that they treat and talk about Africans. So it's very demeaning, right? They talk about delineation, right, which is a separation and saying that, look, we are Black Americans. We are not associated with other groups, and we don't want to be grouped and classed in as well. We are from America, right? We have our rights in America, and we're going to continue to make strides and progress here in this land, which is not a foreign concept, right? When there were schemes to push I rock with some of the foundational Black American movement, but you got to understand, and this is what you all are missing, because y'all act like y'all got a problem with Africans, and this is crazy.
Yeah, that is the only part that I push back on. This is like, if you're so concerned about, your lineage, the thing, and American only, why is 80% of your live streams targeting Africans. Like, why are you even talking about our food? That constant obsession with us is like that is where I completely disrespect them. And this is what I told O'Shea yesterday, the other day. I said, why are you opening the doors for Africans to disrespect you in America? Because there's nothing you can do about it. All of them have US citizenship. You can't do anything about it. If I sit here and lash on you, like, are you very excited that an African dude is going to sit on the internet and build a whole YouTube channel around your L's? Because there's a lot, bro. I have so much content and so many tabs open, I can't even get through them. And I'm like, if I really, be careful, man. Be careful that this doesn't get to like 20, 30,000 subs. Because if it gets there, it's not gonna, there's gonna be a lot more eyes on it. There's 200,000 people across the internet that sees my videos every month. And we just started. There's 200,000 people that view this stuff every month. Okay? Eventually, it's gonna grow. And what I talk about are actually facts, but what it does is it puts your L's up front. It slows your narrative of correction, and it instills fear in the other groups to be around you. And that indirectly limits your opportunity. So what I'm doing is more damaging long term. I'm not looking for short term success. This is more damaging long term because the image that people form of you sticks with them. Okay. And I make it very open and very clear that I don't want to do this shit. I didn't come over here to pick one group that has a similar skin color and not be interested in any of their stuff by choice, and also put their L's up in the open and contextualize it in a way where people look at this and say, oh my God, I don't want anything to do with these people. If this is your land and you have to deal with correcting all these things that I talk about years and years and years and years, then it kind of erases some of the hard work that you all have done in the last maybe 50, 60 years. And there's a lot of Africans that now agree with me. People that used to be very supportive of Black Americans. Like people from Africa that were very supportive of Black Americans and Black American causes are starting not to like Black Americans because of this. And the Africans that you say these things about, they are in Africa. They don't care. They got their own issues to worry about. They don't care. But the Africans that are here, a lot of them are US citizens, which means a lot of them vote. And in a country where you're a minority, you need every vote. I'm not saying we're all going to vote one way. But if a vote, I can be a Republican, which derails, which these guys have become Republicans now. I don't even understand it. But I can be a Republican, which derails every effort of you getting reparations. But if there's a local reparations thing on the ballot, I'm like, you know what? I'll give it to them. I'll go vote for them to get it. Because in my mind, I'm like, yeah, some Black people get it, bro. I don't know if this is a natural racial feeling. I don't know if white folks have it. I don't know if Asians, I know Asians have a little bit of it. But when you go to a foreign land and you see somebody that is Black, you don't even care where they are from, right? There's usually an eye sign that you make, like you do a sign that you see them or you acknowledge them. I used to do this a lot. Like I'll do a bow or an acknowledgement. It's like you see them, which means like, hey, if any shit happens here, I got you, right? There's that natural connectivity to anything Black, and children have it. Because I told you the story about the lone Black kid in my son's class and how these kids will find a way to get along and get together and sit together. Even though we don't teach our children about race, we try to tell them that everybody is the same and they can have friends. He used to have a Chinese friend, close friend, before we moved out of Ireland. So that's what we teach him, to be all inclusive, but he still finds a way to be attracted to the black guy. And this is what it looks like more generally. See, they are looking at this, they're looking at this as if this is just some internet thing that eventually it will go away when they decide it will go away. And I'm saying bullshit to it, that no, we will decide when it goes away. Because we know we have a certain kind of political leverage. And we've shown that. We've shown that in Jasmine Crockett trying to win my Senate seat. Okay? And knowing that the Latinos are not on your side. Okay? And as somebody that I think I'm very influential, I think I might set up a YouTube channel in Espanol. As somebody that I think I'm very influential in Latin culture and being immersed in with the Latinos, if I start translating some of my videos and they start watching it, they're also going to move further and further apart from your causes. Eventually, you're going to be a loner in your own home country. That is the goal. So I am being very more strategic with this, okay? And it can be very dangerous, and I don't want to do it. This is why I said, hey, you don't have to be friends with the Africans. We don't give a fuck, all right? We're not here for you. You don't have to be friends with the Africans. You can push for your reparations. You can push for your delineation so that when they collect data, they separate the black groups like they do with some Europeans. No problem, all right? But you shouldn't be talking about my fufu. You shouldn't be talking about my tribes. You shouldn't be talking about what I eat, how I eat with my hands, what I do culturally that you have disdain to. And in the same light, I shouldn't be, talking about maybe some generalizations in crime and stuff like that. Both sides will find a way to maybe do individual topics. Maybe I can talk about the Corey Holcomb meltdown, where it's specific to Corey and not because he's black or black American. And you can also look at a Nana video and talk something specific to what Nana said. And I'll be like, okay, fine. That is just specific to me and not because I'm African. But the constant disrespect and dumping on people that frankly have done nothing to you. Some of you have never even come into contact with an African person. The last time there was a guy in the chat, I asked him, I said, when's the last time you physically talked to an African? Just remind me the last time. And he couldn't even tell me. Most of you don't even see Africans because there's not too many of us. Unless you go to a place where we're congregated or you live in the DMV or in New York or in LA. But if you're here in the middle and in the South, a lot of you don't see Africans. The nearest black congregation is 1 hour away from me. So I have no interest in going into that areas for my own reasons. Really and frankly, why should I drive that far? For what? Just to see black people? No, I'm not interested, right? But at least I don't sit out there and disrespect you. Now I do because you've given me reason to. Okay? If you don't give me any reason to, I won't do it. You've given me reason to. And I have to do it because I also have a community to protect. And I fight people with the same tools they fight me with. Okay? So if you're fighting me on African L's, then I'll be fighting you on Black American L's. And because I live in America and I know, like I said, I've been studying the blacks for 20 years, bro. Like, literally studying them for 20 years. I will never run out of shit to talk about. And every day somebody is going to do some BS that will shock the world, okay? And it starts with Tariq Nasheed. If Tariq Nasheed calls his troops, because this is a military terms now. If Tariq calls his troops and says, guys, okay, fine, let's push for our lineage, let's push for our separation from the Africans, but let's not make all our conversations about who is better, who is not better, who is this, who is that, this culture, that culture, and leave them out of our push. Because you're in America fighting for what is important to you in America. What does the African got to do with it? You're only talking about the African because he's black like you. That's it. And I think that also stems from the fact that they come here and they stay on a mission at hand. The Africans come here with a mission. And you're not going to force them out of that mission. Their mission is very simple. Money. Their mission is money. And none of these tantrums these guys are throwing and playing is going to change that mission. That mission is not going to change, fellas. The mission is money. And if it means going into bed with the white folks to make it happen at your expense, we'll do it because that's what capitalists do. As long as it's legal and moral, you do what you have to do to make that money.
Because what you also gonna miss out is the opportunity to do business, right? It's a very simple, logical thing. All of the resources are in Africa. They're not in America. You can think about your ego can take you wherever you want to. Your ego is not the resource to.
Yeah, I get that, but Black America is not a country, so they can't do. See, if the blacks in the U.S. was a bigger population or was politically powerful, and even these resources that Africa has to offer, if they went straight into black communities, okay, so Ghana says, hey guys, black folks, come here, get you some few ounces of gold. And it goes directly into black families. Then we can be talking about something. The Ghanaians cannot deal with the black Americans. They have to deal with the Americans. You know what I mean? They have to deal with the Americans. You're a small minority group in a country. We are nations. We have passports that are ours. We have currencies that are ours. We have borders and territories that are ours. We have a military, not too strong, but they are there. They know how to molest people and give you a hard time. We have our own police forces. They are there. And then we have our own laws and constitutions. We govern ourselves. Despite all the propaganda that is out there, we govern ourselves. Okay? For these other people to govern us, they have to come and live there. And those pictures don't look good. So they're not going to do that. Okay? Now, do they lobby? Do they influence? Yes, they lobby and influence. That's the Americans lobby and influence. The Chinese lobby and influence. Everybody's trying to get some of the lithium and the cobalt to power these same machines that me and you are talking on. Okay, without us, these things just don't exist, bro. Congo by itself has almost 80% of the world's lithium and cobalt reserves. So it has to come from us. So I see his point there, but he's not correct. Now, can a black individual in America leverage the fact that he's black, go to Africa, and maybe get some of this stuff? Yes, very possible. Yes, very possible. But then also comes the problems. If you're already not doing that successfully here in the US, you don't have a business blueprint, as we saw in our video with O'Shea yesterday, where he lacked some understanding on how certain business things work. And he claims that he got taken advantage of because of a lack of that knowledge, okay? So I think what I get from this is, again, back to this superior thinking. They think of themselves as a nation when they are talking to their Africans. They think of themselves as a bigger black to the Africans. And I'm here to say, no, that's not true. You're not, because we are nations. We have a seat at the United Nations. We are individual countries. We have a passport. Some of our nations have airlines. We control who comes into our countries and who leaves. That's not the case here. You can advocate here. You can hold up signs here, because that's what you do. And you can vote. But so can the immigrant too, who becomes American. Okay? So a lot of their arguments, it's just on the internet how they feel. Oh, you can be deported. Who is coming here to deport me? I've been sitting in North America this whole time. Nobody's going to come and knock on my door to deport me. You know, it's funny. Actually, my mom just got her permanent resident card approved like 2 or 3 days ago. So they're not stopping any immigration. Family-based immigration is going on. I kid you not. My mom just got a U.S. Green card approved. I have the paperwork somewhere here. She just got it approved like 2 or 3 days ago. The card's not even in the mail yet. So they're still doing it. So they're not limiting anybody from coming. You think they are, but they're not. If you're doing things the legal way, there's always a pathway. Okay. Let's go to, what am I missing? I'm missing something here. Let's go to one of my tabs. Let's talk about the Ghanaian story. There's this shit girl that used to do Tariq videos that would lie about Tariq Nasheed. That would lie because she was pretending not to be FB, and she did a viral clip, lied about her relationship with a Ghanaian guy that never existed. It's a big back, like use a lot of filters in her videos. She is sucking the dick of these FBA men. I don't know if she thinks any of them will marry her. God damn, she still uses that background with that air conditioning in the back. Okay, so this is my foreign minister in Bogota, Colombia. She takes a clip of it. And the title is African Union's Plan to Cut Black Americans Out of Reparations. Yeah, because you guys are the high ego, it all group with no power. Everybody's going to get something by you because we're nations, okay? We're nations. And, I tell you all my story with how much I love the Afro-Colombians. And, if I ever have a big inheritance, I'll definitely give a portion of it to the blacks in Colombia, okay? I think that is the script that Black America needs. That despite all the problems that Afro-Colombians have, at least they are not disrespectful when it comes to the other black groups in the diaspora. But let's listen to a little bit of it. I don't think this is not a chick I respect. She was a lesbian at some point. They all have issues. That's what I'm telling you, man. They all have issues, man. She was a lesbian at some point. They are confused about their sexuality. Now she's confused about her ethnicity and her race. It's just a bunch of shitty people, man. Shitty people.
Wishes to draw attention to the very consequential resolution which President John Dramani Mahama of Ghana will be tabling on the 25th of March, which is just next week, Wednesday, a few days from now. This is a resolution seeking to declare the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity. For more than 300 years, Africans were treated as property, were tortured, humiliated, raped, and forced out.
Okay, so before he gets there, the resolution is to force the world, or the United Nations, right? So force the world to agree or to accept that the transatlantic slave trade was evil. So the first step is that will also acknowledge that the transatlantic slave trade did indeed happen, because there's people that deny it. And part of the people that deny it are these same blacks in America who have decided to follow one man with a 6th grade education due to their hatred for black immigrants. So today they are Democrats, tomorrow they are Republicans. Reparations is a socialist construct. It's free money. It's government paying money out of taxpayers for a crime that the government did. So most conservatives will not support that, because they will say, oh, who's going to pay for it, right? You guys know. Let's be factual here, okay? This is why I don't respect these people, because they are not strategic. They just talk. They are emotional thinkers. They don't, that's why I don't respect them, man. And you guys have heard me say I don't like them, okay? I don't like them because of how stupid they are. I've never seen anything like this, right? Like, how do you ask for something, but then you're supporting a political side that categorically would never make it happen? That tells me that is bullshit. And that is just a cover of just who they are as xenophobic people. It's just a cover. I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't like you. And I make that very public. At least I say that to the public. You can also say you don't like me. Why do you have to be a bitch and be a coward about it? And like, we're doing this for reparations. I'm not the leader. No. See, that's the difference between an African and them. We can say it to your face and not give a fuck. And we really, really mean it. Okay? And I've given you my reasons why I don't like you. It's not permanent. You can change it. I like some of you. But as a collective, I don't like you. I like some of you. I do like some of you. Okay? I give some examples from time to time. And I do that based on class and how you think, how you process stuff, and how you see the world if you're very serious about life. Okay? You got a whole Ghanaian batch. These slaves were taken from us. They were Ghanaians. They were Gambians. They were Guineans. Okay? You say you're not part of it. So what do you care? You say you was already here. If you was already here, what do you care what my foreign minister is saying in Bogota about recognizing the transatlantic slave trade? You said you're not part of it. You're not slaves. You was already here. You was Indians and Moors. Which one is it? Which one is it, motherfuckers? Which one is it? These are the things I want you all to answer. Which one is it? Are you here as an African descent due to the horrible slave trade, or were you already on the land in the 1500s? If you're already on the land, why are you even reacting to my foreign minister? He's not one of you. He's not your people. He's not talking about you. If you are not slaves, then you can't get reparations, dummy. You are the ones that talk about education. I'm telling you, man, look, Google this shit. WAEC, West African Exam Council, and build a homeschooling curriculum based on WAEC for your children. That will be the best present that I ever gave you. If you can do a homeschooling curriculum, maybe I should write a curriculum on this. If you can do a homeschooling curriculum and target it for Black Americans and see the outcomes in your children's learning from K through 12. Because the Africans excel enormously between K through 12, man. They are killers. Even when they take your SAT exams, we've done videos on this on the old channel. When we take these SAT and GRE exams, we kill it, bro. Like we kill these exams when we take SATs. Like really, really kill the shit out of it. We kill it to the point where these Princetons and MITs compete for us to come here. I showed you on the community tab a few months ago about 2 South Africans that are currently in Cambridge, Massachusetts at Harvard due to how much damage they did to the SAT. And that's not even our curriculum, but it forms from the learning that they got from our K through 12 system. It's one of the most, it needs to be studied, it needs to be written about. I kid you not, fellas. The K through 12 education in West Africa has to be studied. I don't know how they came up with it. I don't know how they were able to draft that kind of curriculum, but that shit needs to be studied, man. And if you can get it into any Black American home in America with some parental guidance of both parents, y'all will get me in your corner. I'll be in your corner if I start seeing shit like that. Because that will tell me that's a deliberate strategic plan to change shit. And you're going to see those results in 10 years, man. But the way y'all are going, ain't got no chance, man. And I say this to you as an academic. You guys have completely no chance. The way you're going, no chance. With this level of education where you can't even figure out that if you're not a slave, then you can't get reparations for anything that's associated with slavery, and that your FBA shit is just America, and you guys should stay in America. I showed you what Massa does to you when you commit crimes. They incarcerate a whole bunch of you because they've pushed you into a position of poverty. With poverty comes crime. It's all linked. You commit these crimes, they put you in jail, and they enslave you for 2 cents to In Angola, 2 cents an hour, so that we can live. And yet none of your creators are talking about it. You're over here with your makeup and what do you call it? What is the shit that she has on there? Do they put tampon on their faces now? I don't know what these people do nowadays. But, you know, like, I don't know what to do with these people, man. I don't know what to do with these people.
Of the continent, over 12.5 million of them, in the most dehumanizing and despicable circumstances. The world is yet to acknowledge this. Perpetrators are yet to apologize and have not compensated the victims. This is the time to demand reparatory justice, and this is the time to demand restitution.
You know, I find it interesting that the reparations discussion is being had within the African Union right around the time that Black Americans started bringing it up and started actually really talking about taking action to pursue reparations.
Sorry, I apologize there. I had to discuss something with the wife here. Let's go back to what she said. So these guys believe, from the little bit I heard before I got interrupted, she really believes that they are the first people to talk about reparations for slavery. Like, this is what happens when you don't study and you don't learn. Even in my little American experience, Black folks have been talking about reparations for a very long time. It's not news. It didn't start with Tariq Nasheed. The Africans have been talking about reparations. The Africans have been talking about it as, first of all, the first African struggle for this was to get them to return our stolen artifacts, which some of them still sit in museums in Europe that we're still trying to get back. So it started with them repatriating those stolen arts and artifacts and requesting reasonable compensation for the damages caused to us. They're not talking about y'all, they're talking about our people. So if you're not, you can't be fighting for reparations if you don't believe that you're African. You're Americans, remember? You cannot fight for reparations if you don't believe you're African. Because the reparations is for the slave trade. Unless you're saying that you were indigenous to the land and you were enslaved on your indigenous land, then the only party that should be paying that reparations is your government, the United States of America. That's not what the Ghanaians are pushing for. The Ghanaians are pushing for something from the Europeans, not the Americans, the Europeans, who, when we're sitting out chilling on board it, eating snails on the beach and drinking coconut, they decided to show up and disrupt our way of life. That's what we are talking about. And then they sat on our land and our shores, looted our shit, okay, and took some artifacts into museums in Europe, and they profited off these artifacts in Louvain and in Belgium and in all these cities, European capitals. That's what we're talking about. Y'all got to get serious, man. These blacks have to be serious, man.
You know, I find it interesting that the reparations discussion is being had within the African Union right around the time that Black Americans started bringing it up and started actually really talking about taking action to pursue reparations, right? So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting coincidence that at this very time, the African Union, the Ghanaian, whoever he is trying to take.
Whoever he is, That is the foreign minister of the Republic of Ghana. That's like your Marco Rubio. This is why you guys need an education. This is why you need to learn. You were able to put a camera, a filter on your face, you know, and a camera on and some lighting on to talk about shit you have known nothing about. You could have done some learning and say, who is this guy? The guy that you just listened to in Bogota, who is he? Obviously, he's a government representative. You could have looked him up and say, oh, that's Okujeto Ablakwa, Foreign Minister of the Republic of Ghana. His Excellency. Put some respect on it, okay? Because he's achieved something. Not like your broke ass over here trying to just make some money off this grift and, you know, and get some money on the internet instead of really getting a real job and doing real shit in your community. You know, like these people are, I don't even know, man. Like, and it's mostly nowadays. It's also the young ones that are starting to bite and do this. Like, this is a lost group, bro. I'm telling you, man. This is a lost group. The year marker is 10 years from now. Okay, 2036. It's gonna be Armageddon for black folks in America if they keep going like this. You know, a lot of them have become laughing stock, really.
This conversation of reparations for chattel slavery to the UN, you know, and the thing is, like, how are you gonna take a reparation?
No, it's not reparations for chattel slavery. You just played a video that you didn't even listen to. It's reparations for and recognition of the transatlantic slave trade, the business of trading humans who ended up in slavery in the US. So the abduction of these people and the trade of these people from their homelands is what he's seeking reparations from. Your reparations fight is with Massa for putting you to work when you got over here. That's a whole different conversation. Now, I was a little bit part of it. And it's not the African Union that is asking for this. Because the African Union is not all inclusive in the slave trade. This is why, again, you dumb motherfuckers need to learn. Okay? The transatlantic slave trade happened in Central Africa and in West Africa. Okay, so the guys sitting in Southern Congo and in Johannesburg and all these places, they don't know shit about that. I mean, I know the Bantus, some of them moved south after that, but it happened in a specific region of the African continent. The Ethiopians were not part of this shit. So you need to learn these things before you make these videos. If you're going to do what Tariq Nasheed does, at least Tariq Nasheed has traveled to some of these places. And he's done, he knows what he talks about, even if it's not always correct. He's not that ignorant about it. This guy, Black Alpha Network, this stupid looking chick, and all these other guys that do this, they haven't read. They are dummies. They talk based on how they feel, not based on any literature. Because look at it. You think she will ever read a book looking like this? You think she'll ever read a book? This is a chick that is looking for one of these FBA boys to get with her, if they haven't already gotten with her. You know these people give it up easily anyway, right? She's just a chick that is waiting for these guys to get with her, to give her some recognition. You guys call it pick me, right? The young boys call it pick me. But can you imagine being married to a demon like this? Having to make children and raise children with a demon like this? This is what these people have, bro.
Reparations conversation to the UN when y'all were an active participant in the slave trade. It was a whole business operation that they're still doing in certain parts of Africa till this day. They still.
Which part of Africa is doing selling slaves? You got to give examples when you say this, make these stupid wild allegations. See, we need to start suing some of these people for talking rubbish and making. I need to see the legal lingo on this. Like, how do you sit here and say that Africans are still enslaving people right now without any evidence? Talking out of your ass. Like, you can't do that shit, man. At least the things that I talk about in your community is true. I give you data and evidence that what I talk about is true.
Selling people as slaves. So you were an active participant in this atrocity that happened for 300 years. You were shaking hands and doing deals with the devil, with the colonizer. Now, all of a sudden, you want to ask for reparations for it and for your country. Your country wasn't even established as a country at the time that this transatlantic slave trade was going on, honey. So,
yeah, really? Ghana was not established when the transatlantic slave trade was going on. Ghana was called the Gold Coast. We changed the name to Ghana, but it was an established country called the Gold Coast. What are you talking about? She's also mixing colonization in with the transatlantic slave trade. Those are completely two different eras. This girl says she went to Ghana and hopefully got an education if she didn't go and twerk on the Elmina Castle like the rest of them. But these are the kind of dummies that we have to deal with, okay? And then I'll let her play some of her dumb talking points so you guys know what we're dealing with. Then I'll move on from her.
It's just another way to me, I think, to kind of cut in and undermine and get into something that is supposed to be for us over here with Black Americans. I just can't help but to see it that way.
Yeah, if that's how you feel about it, then why aren't you fighting for it? We're going to fight for what we want. You can't tell us what we can fight for and what we cannot fight for. We want reparations for the transatlantic slave trade in Africa. That is the proposition of the Ghanaian government. And the first step is to get the world bodies to recognize that it actually happened. Your government doesn't even want to recognize it. And I'll show you why. I'll show you what your government, we'll see what our president said, and then we'll see the vote. The countries that didn't accept this, let me see if I can send this to my screen so you guys can see it. There's 3 nations that said no to even recognizing that the slavery happened. 3 nations. Okay, bear with me. Let me send this over. So that I can show it to you. Right here. Okay, let's go right here. Okay, fellas, what you see here, the United States of America, Israel, and Argentina were the only nations that voted against this at the UN. The whole world agrees with this. Your government, Foundational Black Americans, your government is one of the governments that voted no. The government, in the country that used a lot of the slave labor that you live in, that you so proudly support and love against your Africans, is one of the nations that said no. Maybe even by far, if what you guys say we built America is true, one of the biggest beneficiaries of slavery said no to recognizing that it happened because to them it was codified with reparatory language. What does that tell you? That means your government don't want to pay. Okay? Even if the Ghanaians are being malicious for trying to undermine you, Your government is not even wanting to hear it. Isn't this what I told you like a few months ago? I said, your folks are not even wanting to hear it. Argentina came as a surprise to me, but he's friends of Trump, so that's going to happen. And then Israel, of course, the nation that stole land from the Palestinians. What a coincidence, right? You don't have to like us. You don't have to like Africans. But at least love yourselves. You don't have to like us. But at least love yourselves. And I say this more seriously, I really mean this. You don't have to like us. We don't care. But at least like yourselves, man. That you are living under a government, and the Democrats would have done this too. So it's not just the Republicans. But you are living under a system that doesn't even want to recognize that slavery happened. Because they think that with that recognition, it will lay the foundation for you to make a serious, legitimate claim for reparations. What does that really mean? That means that your government don't respect that cause and they don't want to pay for it. They don't even want to hear it. Brazil, Southern America, Colombia, all these countries were built also on slave labor. Same way, they had more slaves in Brazil. The Caribbean, the same. And even their governments recognize this shit. The whites are in charge of Brazil. The mestizos are in charge of Brazil. They run it, not the blacks. The blacks, they don't have power like that. They suffer more injustice than you guys do over here. You guys are the most richest blacks. But at least their government voted for it. Wake up, open your eyes, motherfuckers. Open your eyes. Like I said, you don't have to like us. But at least you got to, when these things happen to you, like your predecessors, the Al Sharptons and all these guys, some of the guys I don't care for, they're Jesse Jacksons. When these things happen, there were certain things that blacks were always able to unite around. We can have our differences. No, we're not supposed to be kumbaya, we're humans. But there's one thing that we always united around. And it came, one of the things that most people, regardless of what black you are, we united around was the issues of slavery, colonization, and the transatlantic slave trade as a whole, and its impact on us and our societies. That was the one area that black folks never partitioned from. We always united around those issues. And then Tariq Nasheed came along. This is why I said these guys, even though they are making money on the internet and there's a good grift, I give it to them, they're going to cause so much damage that these things will never be realized. Because even here at the vote level in the US, the Africans are not going to vote for this shit, bro. They're not going to vote for this shit. They used you as a vessel to undermine the same things that you're preaching that you want to get. You said you formed this organization so that you can decide who a slave is and who a slave isn't. Even though my last name alone can tell you that I was never a slave. But if I give you that, yes, you got that. How then do you move the conversation to a point where you disrespect where I'm from, what I do in my country, what my culture does, what my this and my food stinks and all that bullshit? Okay, no issues. But if the goal is really reparations, then your government should be supporting this, or you should be lobbying for your government to support this. You don't want it. I don't think you guys want it. You don't want it. There's two things. I don't think you believe you will get it, and I also don't believe you want it. It's not a priority. Yes, the vice president of Colombia is a black woman. Yes. Francesca. She's a tough woman, socialist, tough woman. She fell out with Petro. She's in Ghana, actually. She's in Ghana. My friend called me from Colombia 2 days ago, said she's in Ghana. See, the black universe is starting to realize that we need to work together on certain things. And the South Americans are a prime example of these things. I mean, we can come here and be joking and we can bash each other and, be saying mean things from time to time. But the one thing that we don't deviate from is the big picture. And the big picture was exposed today. One thing that I realized when this thing happened, only local Ghanaian media was covering this on Facebook. I didn't see a single U.S. outlet talk about this. Not even your CNN, your crown jewel. Not even your CNN. CNN did not want to talk about it. That's sad. That's sad, which means that it sets the time back a little bit. Okay. These are all international papers that are talking about it. U.S. declines support for UN slavery resolution over reparative justice language. This is the only reason why the Americans denied it, because it had the word. It's like they hate to hear that word so much. Even the language of reparation is denial to your government. Yet, the dumb blacks, when I say the dumb blacks, I mean Tariq's people, okay? I'm not talking about black Americans. I'm talking about Tariq's people. The dumb blacks went over there and they were protesting my president's speech before the resolution. So they don't even understand what they were protesting it because they heard that an African leader is talking about reparations. They didn't understand that their government doesn't even want to hear it. These are the folks that we're dealing with, man. And it's sad. It is sad, man. It is sad. I'll play a little bit of the speech and I'll bring you guys on.
Black history courses are being removed from school curricula. Here in the United States, Black history courses are being removed from school curricula. Schools are being mandated to stop teaching students about the truth of slavery, segregation, and racism in American history courses. Books about those topics are being banned in schools and public libraries. Museums, art centers, and other institutions whose budgets rely in any way on public funds are being prohibited from scheduling exhibitions and programs or from displaying materials promoting racial awareness or Black history. Much like the law that was put in place to regulate the punishment of the enslaved in Barbados, these policies are becoming a template for other governments as well as some private institutions. At the very least, they are slowly normalizing the erasure. They are slowly normalizing erasure.
If you're a black person and you heard what my president just told you, you have to start getting serious. Okay? You really have to start getting serious. Because your government, again, this is another thing that my president brought to light. Your government is slowly normalizing the erasure of your history. And you are a minority, so that means that when this erasure is normalized, and he says, my president also said, it's become a template for other governments to follow. So there are other governments in Europe that are looking at this and they also say, hey, the Americans got away with it. We can do ours too. And eventually, your children will not be able to even read about this. And those children, see, when these things started happening, this is how you get the Theos and the Black Alpha networks on the internet. This was done slowly and systematically, unsuspecting, and a lot of you were not aware of it. And this is the result of it. The result of it is the fact that that history is erased. You don't know a source, and you're looking for the source. The source is Tariq Nasheed. The other source is confusion about your identity and your ideologies. That is the source. That's where you go to get that information. That information is aligning and joining movements to give you a collective base and a belief that what your new beliefs are true. Your lineage cannot go back to 2019. That is so disrespectful to your parents, to your grandparents, and to any percentage of your DNA that traces to the transatlantic slave trade. You have undermined all the pain and hassle that those people went through. And even if the Africans were complicit in selling people, it still happened. It still happened. And that should make you feel a certain kind of way, man. I don't hate white people. I don't have any problems with them. Because the white folks that we have today are not the ones that did that shit. That's where I stand when it comes to that. They're not the ones that did that shit. And some of them are good partners and good allies. Because there are European countries that participated in this shit that voted for it. I want you to listen closely. There were only 3 countries that said no, which means all the European countries voted in favor of it. So the problem is not the Europeans. The problem is your motherfucking government, your president, your leader. And I vote Republican, but what is true is true. The problem is the fact that your focus is on Tariq Nasheed and you're all sleeping at the wheel, and these things are happening to you. And you don't have the vote power and the collective unity to push back on it. My president that you protested did you a huge favor. It was a gesture by the African people. We have gold, man. We don't need your reparations. Ghana is doing pretty well. We have 3% inflation right now. Accra is pretty much built. I told you all the other day, I said, Accra is pretty much built, man. Just a little bit left, and if we can extend Accra out to the other cities, I think in the next 5 to 10 years, Ghana is going to turn, if this president keeps going the way he's going, Ghana is going to turn a huge corner. Ghana is going to turn a huge corner. I think somebody's asking who built the University of Ghana. I think the University of Ghana started by the British in the 1920s, like Achimota School, and then, but the expansion of it is mostly Ghanaians. The faculty expansion, because the university is not like a building that just sits there and nothing happens, right? I know the business school is new. The medical center, this one, was built by John Mahama. This medical center was built by John Mahama. Beautiful, beautiful medical center. This guy, John Dumelo, who is a MP of that place, is a guy I went to school with. And the center even has a website. Ghana is really doing well. We run 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can register. You can book an appointment online now at the University of Ghana Hospital. It's Ghanaian doctors that are running the show. These are the services: obstetrics and gynecology, emergency medicine, cardiac and vascular surgery. They're doing heart transplant in these places. Reproductive medicine, oncology. They're doing some cancer treatments there. Hematology, endoscopy. We're trying, fellas. That's what I'm saying. We are trying. We even sent health professionals to Jamaica to help them out, and I think to Barbados not too long ago. We sent them some of our health professionals. I know the Kenyans went into an agreement with the UK to send them nurses because we have abundant nurses. Kwame Nkrumah built a lot of nursing training colleges. So it became very easy for Ghanaians to go to nursing school, and hence we have a lot of nursing and teachers, okay? And this hospital is built as a medical hospital for the University of Ghana. And back to your question, somebody asked me when the University of Ghana was built. Most of the things that, most of what UG is today, it's not what it was when I was in Ghana. A lot of that, include the one in Kumasi, is built by, I think, is built by Kwame Nkrumah. So this is the University of Ghana. It has 60,000 registered students. Let's see. It was founded in 1948. Ghana became independent in 1957. So this was what, about roughly about 9 years before independence. Okay, so the University College of the Gold Coast is what the British called it, in British colony of the Gold Coast, and it was originally an affiliate college of the University of London, which supervises academic programs and awarded degrees. After Ghana gained independence, the college was renamed to what is now the University of Ghana. But it's really been expanded. It's not what it was. There are satellite campuses outside of Legon. There's some of them in around Kolebu area. The guys that are from Ghana, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's not what the colonials left. They did the framework of it. They started it. But if you know Legon very well, the colleges and the departments have all expanded and they are all different. There's so many different courses that you can do. It's a good school. Most of my friends went to school there and have become great people. The other one, the Kwame Nkrumah one, KNUST, I think that one was built by Kwame Nkrumah. KNUST, let's see when this was founded. This one was established in 1952. I don't know if the British had a hand in it because we gained independence shortly after. So you can also attribute that to them. It doesn't say, but okay. So it has its rules in the parts of Ajimaprempe, because remember, during the colonial rule, the Ashantis had a kingdom and they had some type of autonomy, so they could do their own things. So this was really built by the Ashantis. Okay, so this is an initiative of the Ashanti king. So we are trying. Just to say that we are trying. We're not perfect. We're not there yet, but we're trying. Okay, we're trying, and I know it's gonna get better. Like when I was growing up, there was only really 3 universities in Ghana. There was a Kwame Nkrumah University, this one for science and technology. There was University of Ghana, which was the generalist university. And then there was the University of Cape Coast, where the slave forts are. Cape Coast one was mostly for education. So people went to Cape Coast if you wanted to be teachers, secondary school teachers. And then they eventually started a business program that became very successful. So a lot of people would go there for business school. We're trying. It's just to answer your question, we're trying. I'm gonna put the link up. Let's do about 15 minutes of a panel, and then my ass will be gone, man. Hello, Eddie, Matthew, Eddie. Here in Africa, we're seeing all of this. Yes, we're trying, man. We're trying. We're not there yet. We're trying. As long as we're making some progress, okay? We're trying. Everything has to be done. You have to always look back and say, are you headed in the right direction? And I think the next phase of that expansion will be diaspora support. If you picked up something from my conversation with O'Shea yesterday, one thing that we're still lagging, which I think should get better, is how we do business, business transparency, how we professionalism. Maybe we can learn a thing or two from the Americans when it comes to hyper skill professionalism, just doing things at scale, doing things speedy, doing things more transparent, not looking to be making profit quicker before the business even starts up, right? A lot of us, we want to start eating our profits before we even start the business. Like we want to eat that profit before it even comes in. And that's a problem. Hola, Ray.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I got you, bro. ¿Cómo te ha ido?
Súper bien. Everything's good. Descansando hoy.
Oh, yeah? Oh, es un día.
Can you see me?
Yes, sir, I see you, man. You're resting today?
Yep, day of rest.
Nice one. I'm glad you came on because I was going to talk to you. I'll take a detour here. I was going to talk to you about the American Airlines flight attendant doing a stopover in Medellin. I don't know if you've seen the story. He did a stopover in Medellin.
I heard they found his body yesterday.
They found his body yesterday. As soon as I heard the story, I knew I could predict what the outcome was going to be. You want me to play back the story, or you have an idea what the story is?
Oh yeah, I have an idea because a lot of people have been sharing it with me. And I've been following up on that.
Yeah. Medellin still has those cars. It's and whenever we talk about these passport bro guys, I tell them, I said, you have to respect Colombia. They're nice people, they are great people, but you have to respect it. And if you're doing things that are culturally appropriate, you won't end up like that. I mean, nothing good happens after dark, right?
Exactly. And if I can add to that, same thing. When I go to Mexico and I go to another country, I try to, be as respectful of the local culture as possible.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So sometimes when we make this video, you get the common commentary is that we are haters. I'm sure you get a lot of that too, right? That we are haters.
Oh yeah.
Why do you think they say that? And are we haters? Is there anything they are doing that we hate?
No, I would not say that. And the thing is that what you do and what I try to do at the same time, I try to educate people because I want them to help them to change their behavior for the better. I want them to be able to travel to Colombia, to be able to have a good time and come back safely. However, because of their action, and not just the passport bros, I'm talking about expats and foreigners who are the bad ones are damaging the image amongst Colombians, and this xenophobia is starting to arise amongst them. But for me, I don't hate passport bros,
Yeah. I don't. Sometimes I think I even give them way too much information.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, I think I give them way too much information because, like this stretch of time that I lived there, I think Colombia was even more dangerous then than it is now.
Oh yeah.
But
see, you and I, we both lived there when it was more dangerous than it is now, and we know how dangerous it can get once people get fed up.
Exactly, and I'm glad you're here. You're talking about this. So there's report. People might not like that we're talking about this, but whenever I run into a Colombian, I have to talk about Colombian news. Yvonne Mordisco. I'm hearing some information that he may have been killed. Do you know about
Mordisco? I haven't been keeping up with that. That's a good. I heard that he had disappeared. But I'm not sure if it's confirmed or not.
Okay, there's a confirmation. So I don't know if you know Blue Radio on YouTube.
I
Noticia,
heard of it.
Or Noticia Caracol.
Okay.
They are confirming that alias one of the women. What is the name? One of the romantic partners, the one that was very visible in his videos, they are confirming that they have her body, that they killed. She was killed in a strike. And as of this morning, when I listened to Colombian news, they were doing, let me see here. They were doing some lab work to establish whether Yvonne Mordisco is in the, let me go to Noticia Caracol.
But that's not good because once you disable a leader, other groups try to come in and take over,
Yeah. The reason I bring this up is if this is confirmed, there's going to be more violence Okay, I'm gonna play this. I don't have an English version, so I'm gonna play this and you can translate.
Mucha atención. Frente al caso del auxiliar de vuelo desaparecido en Medellín, Eric Gutiérrez, hay novedades. Esto es primicia de Noticias Caracol. Erika Zapata tiene los detalles. Muy buenos días. ¿Qué dijo el alcalde, Erika?
Hola, muy buenos días. Así es, mucha atención porque el alcalde de Medellín, Federico Gutiérrez, le acaba de confirmar a Noticias Caracol que el cuerpo que fue hallado en las últimas horas en el corregimiento de Puente Iglesias, específicamente en el municipio de Jericó, que es suroeste del departamento de Antioquia, a 3 horas de la ciudad de Medellín, en zona boscosa, y que está aquí en medicina legal.
3 horas de la ciudad de Medellín. So why did they go that far?
From what I understand, from what I heard, it was that he was partying with this woman and one of his coworkers. Random people came out. They invited them to go for drinks. They did that. I don't know why you would do such a thing, but they did that. They went out with them, and they started feeling kind of funny. And the woman, she says, I need to go. And then the men started forcing themselves on her and on him. She managed to get away, and he had disappeared. And from what they're saying right there, he was found in this very rural area. Which is 3 hours away from Medellin, in a place that's very foresty. So they probably were trying to extort him or maybe kidnap him to pull money out of him.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And what's even crazy is about Mordisco. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this guy's only a flight attendant. They don't make a lot of money like that. And I know he's gay because he's from the Dallas area, and their partner had was on local media. He had been in a gay relationship with this person for 10 years. So I'm curious to know why he would go out and party. And I thought when I first heard it, I was like, oh, it's a Tinder date gone wrong. And then after that, I'm like, when this...
Well, the problem is that when people fly down to South America or other countries, they think it's like the United States. The party culture in Colombia is different than it is here, and from what I understand, I thought the biggest mistake was they went out, they were partying, they made some random group of people to say, hey, come on, we're going to invite you, and they started sharing drinks, and they went to another place. I would never do in Colombia. You don't do that. If you were to see my family, they're very suspicious of the strangers.
Yeah, and he's a Spanish speaker, so I have a feeling he felt comfortable because you're speaking to somebody in Espanol, and you're like, okay, yeah, at least these are my people. But Medellin is not like that, bro.
A esta hora las autoridades verifican si alias Iván Mordisco estaría entre los abatidos en el bombardeo, donde también habría muerto alias Lorena, su pareja sentimental. La operación de las fuerzas especiales en el Baupés ya completa 6 cuerpos recuperados.
La operación comenzó el pasado miércoles 25 de marzo. Decenas de comandos de operaciones especiales de las fuerzas militares con apoyo de inteligencia de la policía se insertaron en la selva después de un bombardeo de la Fuerza Aeroespacial Colombiana sobre un campamento del bloque Amazonas de alias Iván Mordisco, ubicado en el corregimiento Pacoa en el Baupés, un punto estratégico en donde confluyen la Amazonía colombiana con los departamentos de Caquetá y Guaviare, en donde dicen las autoridades se enquistó Iván Mordisco y allí se ha escondido en los últimos 10 años después de abandonar los acuerdos de paz del 2016 en Cuba. Las autoridades han recuperado 6 cuerpos en la zona del bombardeo, donde según información de inteligencia se encontraría alias Iván Mordisco, el principal objetivo de la operación militar. En medicina legal, en San José del Guaviare, avanza el proceso de identificación de los cuerpos. Entre ellos estarían integrantes de su anillo de seguridad y alias Lorena, señalada como su actual pareja sentimental, quien fue vista acompañándolo en las sabanas del Yarí.
I don't know if you're going to remember everything. I should have paused it in between. So they started the operation on Wednesday. They didn't capture him, but they bombed the whole camp. It's somewhere around the Amazonas. Are you from that area? I think you said you're from that area, right?
Oh, Amazonas is southeast. I'm from the southwest, which is facing towards the Pacific.
Yeah.
But I know where Valpes is like what we call a department or state or province that is going into the Amazonian region. It said that he has been hiding there for the last 10 years because of the fact that he did not agree to the peace process of 2016. He was a member of the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. He's known as the dissidents of the FARC, which are basically people who left, but they didn't turn in their arms, and they did a combination bombardment of different agencies, and they found 6 bodies, and they're trying to verify if he's one of them. And yeah, you're right. The lady that showed next to him, she's considered the sentimental partner of him, and that. So yeah, so they're trying to do autopsies and see if that's him.
Yeah, if this is verified for our North American viewers that don't know a lot of Colombian drug cartel politics or criminal group politics, how dangerous can travel be to Colombia if they confirm this? I think this can be even worse than Fito in Ecuador, or even this the Mexican guy that was just, what is his name? I've forgotten his name. But the last one that just happened in Mexico around what was the name of that place? It doesn't come to mind because I'm not really a fan of Mexico like that. But I know you know what I'm talking about, right?
There was like a whole Mexican thing going on where the cartels were fighting each other after the head guy was killed.
After that head guy was killed, what is that? What does this look like in Colombian politics? If a guy like this is the guy, this is like this is the equivalent of Pablo Escobar. Well,
let's put it this way. He is the top commander of a militia group that almost overthrew the country. I lived there the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, and they almost overthrew the entire country. Like, they were 45,000 strong. These are people who are military backed by other nations, which I can't say, and they used the drug money to continue the civil war against the government, because they're trying to institute a communist Marxist regime, right? And this guy was the head commander of a certain block of that specific group that was literally the biggest at the time. They went through a peace process. A lot of them turned their guns in, and yeah. So what this is going to cause is going to cause major problems, because there's a certain structure. You know, they work with cartels. They fight against the government. They fight against each other. They fight against mercenary groups created by the government. So yeah, it's going to be a mess, because what they do is they control certain drug routes, and they maintain certain peace in certain parts of the country. You know, because out there in the Amazon or certain small towns, that's where they have more power, and they're literally the government. They are the government. I have a cousin of mine. She was a psychologist, and she was working with an international, I think it was the Red Cross or another international group. She was allowed to go there, and they will allow her to come in to help the people who are sick and everything else. But she had to get up an ID with them as if it were a different country. So yeah, we're gonna see how this is gonna go, because he controls the southwest or the southern part of Colombia. And if you saw the bombings that were happening in Cali, like back in November, December, he was one of the major groups that had to do with that.
Yeah, this is so. I haven't checked it. I know in the past the Medellin cartel used to run a lot of the extortions in Medellin. Who's running it now? Is it ELN? Is it FARC? Who, like, because it feels like Medellin has become the spot where a lot of these guys are.
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be extremely careful, because I said this before in my other videos when I'm actually dealing with Passport Bros, and I had to be careful with the names that I'm dropping, because it could be dangerous for me, it could be dangerous for my family. I've been warned by my own family to stop giving so much information. Let me give a quick explanation. There's a 3-way civil war between the government, left-wing guerrilla groups, which are Marxist, Leninists, and their, whatever different variations of communism. Certain parts of the government broke away, and they created their own paramilitary mercenary groups. And these people are right-wing paramilitary groups, and they became just as powerful as these other groups are. They have fought against the government sometimes, but they were created mainly to fight these guys. And they're literally walking armies that can, they can stand up to the government at times. In Medellin, and I'm going to say this very carefully, in Medellin, that is a stronghold for a lot of paramilitary groups, because Medellin is very conservative in their ideologies. They don't like Petro, because Petro used to belong to a communist guerrilla group called the March of 19 movement. and they control a lot of what goes on in Medellin. If even in the certain parts in the barrios, the neighborhoods where the police don't go, they're the ones who are in charge there. You cannot steal there, you cannot rob there, and everything else. So, and certain communist groups do have their pockets, but not much. So everything that is Coffee region is controlled by the paramilitary, and they were created to fight against communist Marxist guerrilla groups. Sometimes they do fight against the government. They're conservative in their ideology, versus these guys are liberal in their ideology, you know?
Is like I said, it's kind of a system where like two economies are running at the same time, right? There's like the underground economy. They are paying the vacunas, and then everybody knows it's happening, but nobody's really talking about it. When do we cross the line? When do we cross the line as maybe expats or travelers or passport bureaus, whatever people are doing? When is the line crossed? To where these people like we become targets.
Okay. Do you know who the other guy is called? Carlos from Cartagena. His name is the Colombian travel guide.
Yeah, I know him. I know Carlos. I haven't met him in person, but I know him.
He did a video and he did a warning to people, and I did a follow-up video to warn people, and I still got attacked for it. And he said, "Hey guys, you need to stop with these fights that you're doing because of the fact that when they're fighting over prostitutes, and I'm gonna be honest, they're fighting over prostitutes. I don't care what anybody tells me. Okay, and I'm not saying that prostitution is wrong. That's the law over there and stuff like that is protected. However, in Colombian society, traditionally was something supposed to be hidden. You wouldn't do it in public. You wouldn't do it in front of churches, little kids. Him. Okay. And he said that, the bosses are watching you guys because of the fact that they're bringing so much attention to that part of society that the government is forced to crack down and is cutting into business. When you cut into business, they're no longer going to put up with you because people don't understand that these bosses, hint, hint, wink, wink, who are controlling everything in different parts of the country, they're allowing these foreigners to come in. They're misbehaving and they're looking the other way, but that's not considered acceptable. When you start messing with business, that's when you have a problem. Like, for example, hotels being shut down because you're bringing little kids in there. That's cutting into business. Having to shut down parquilleras in Medellin because you cannot control yourself. That's cutting into business. Then you have international news stations coming in, putting their eye on there, and the businesses have to stop. These businesses have to pay a certain amount of protection, and you're cutting into business. And like I always tell people, I'm not here to take anybody's food away. I'm not here to take anybody's money away, because I had a message from Andrea. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Listen, I had a message sent from Andrea, and I know it's not her. If you know Andre and Andrea from Love Crossing Borders, as a passport bro married to a Colombian, supposedly, and I had my family do research, which is, I can tell that they have a false facade, right? And I told them, because they're sending me messages that, oh, you're not a Colombian, you haven't been there, even though my cousins work with the government and with the archdiocese and feeding old people and stuff like that, and everything else. And I had family members that have been murdered trying to help the local people. Okay, I'm not here to take food away from anybody, but I'm trying to warn you guys. If you're stepping on the wrong toes, and not only is that, you're putting pressure on the government. You're putting pressure on the other government that you guys don't see, and the locals are starting to get pissed off. So you got like these three things that are coming at you. I have friends from Medellin. I'm not telling you. I had a friend of mine that told me, say, hey, I've been seeing flyers telling the foreigners that if they don't behave, they're going to end up getting poked with a knife. I don't want to say words that will probably demonetize you. Okay.
Right.
And the sentiment is starting to grow. There's an anti-foreigner sentiment growing, anti-passport bro sentiment growing, and anti-anybody. I want people to go. I do want people to go. I have family members that don't want people to go. Anybody, if you're a foreigner, they don't want you there.
And rightly so. I know why, because like I said, I lived there, so I know what they had. I know what the locals had to deal with. I think I told this story before. One time I saw this black dude in El Centro in Cartagena with his shirt off, completely shirt off, pants sagging, and yelling like he was calling out somebody and just, hey yo, and I was like, what? Like, you can't do that here, man. And I was looking at the body language of the locals, and every local seemed very surprised that, like, how did you even allow this person into our country? See, and I was very embarrassed because I'm like, I don't know, people will look at me because I'm also black, but luckily it's Colombia and it's on the coast. And they have people that look like me that are natives, right? So I always try to look as local as possible.
I guarantee you, if you were to go to Cali or to other towns in the valley, you wouldn't bat an eye. You're one of us.
Right.
Unless
Like
you start speaking,
Yeah, Choco or Cali.
Choco.
Yeah. Let me, I saw this video from Carlos. I'm going to play a little bit of it, but it's one of those stories.
What's good, guys? Welcome to another episode of my YouTube channel. Y'all know who is this. This is Carlos, the Colombian guy. And today, I would like to bring y'all the latest updates, the latest news about the city of Medellin, Colombia, because an American citizen got expelled out from the city of Medellin because he was found that he was coming to Colombia to get auto service. Plus, he brought like 2 million of bikinis on his suitcase, clothes for 1 month. Let's speak about this and let's jump in this news.
So I was trying to understand, like, why would you travel with a bunch of bikinis? I thought he was going to sell them. Like, I was like, is it a business? Did somebody say bring it from the US? Because I do get that sometimes. There was during the Venezuelan crisis, when Venezuelans were moving a lot into Colombia, there was a Venezuelan friend of mine, older lady, probably in her 60s, who used to sell cigarettes to foreigners. That was her business, right? So she would ask
quickly,
me,
I just want to say hello to Kung Fu Fanta. He said hello to me in the comments.
yeah, salute to Kev. And she would ask me to bring like little, like buy her some cigarettes to sell because she used to get them from the US. But I was thinking about it. I was like, was it a mistaken? Was a guy mistaken for somebody that was maybe sending it in there because a friend does a business? Because why would you carry like, it was a lot. I think it was like 30 or 40 of them that he had. Why 40 bikinis?
Well, the problem is that the people think that we're dumb. I don't understand. I have been dealing with passport bros, especially the B-rated passport bros that are mad at you or coming at me in TikTok. These guys, they don't think. They think that we're uneducated and dumb. And like guys come in with 100 condoms, 100 bikinis, or anything else. You think that you could ship it to them. Say, hey, you got a business down there, but I don't understand their method.
Yeah. And even that, like if it's a business, there's a door-to-door shipments in Miami. There's all these small agencies that you can ship like a small box of TVs and stuff. They take it to your house in Colombia. They ship it to your door.
Yeah, they ship it to your door.
So yeah,
Colombians send things back all the time: TV, shoes, clothes.
Yeah.
If I can ask you something before we get off, if somehow you can send me an email, I need to get in contact with you, talk with you about something. I think you should know.
Okay. Let me let's do it offline. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'll give you the last word. Kev, are you coming on or? I don't think he is. Let me give you the last word. Wrap up.
Okay.
I don't think he's coming. Okay, man, take us home. Say the last words. That's the culture
for me?
here. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Sorry about that. Listen. I want guys to understand. My channel that I created. My platform is not an anti-passport bro channel. I'm not a man-hating channel. I'm here to promote Colombian culture, but people don't understand that certain people are coming to our countries and rubbing everybody the wrong way. And I'm trying to say, hey, guys, change your behaviors because you can actually end up getting hurt or even worse. And I don't want that for you guys. I'm trying to edify and change you for the better. I don't believe in putting people down. I don't believe in hurting anybody. But when people disrespect Colombia, I disrespect back. That's how I am. Why? Because Colombia has been in a civil war for the last 70, 80 years. We're used to fighting. We're used to defending ourselves. And that's all I got to say. All right, guys. So, yeah, it was good seeing you guys. All right. I'm going to log off now.
All right, thanks, bro. Thanks for stopping in, man. And let's take it offline, get through the emails, and we'll do some more content together. Also, you can clip the moments. If you need the file, let me know. I can send you the file. You can clip your moments and react to it, make videos with it, post it, share it. Because we did cover we covered some territory here, so you can clip them up and do your thing.
All right, no problem. Have a good one.
All right, bro. That was Ray. Y'all should check him out. Ray Condor. He has he talks a lot about Colombia and Colombian travel. Check him out on YouTube. I think he's on TikTok as well. So check him out if you like the content. He gives a lot of advice, gems about. He's Colombian, right? So that's his country. So he'll give you a lot of information about Colombia and Colombian culture and the things you should not do when you go over there, okay? Because a lot of you go over there, you do. I've seen horrible things over the years, and all it does is it just makes travel very difficult for regular folks that just travel. All right, we'll wrap this up. Thanks for coming through, and I'll see y'all. Let me see if I missed any comments. Let's see. Somebody's saying FBA's up. Salute to you. Salah is in the house. Monkey Life, salute to you. Iraq was in the house. Salute to you, Iraq, if you're still here. And who am I missing? Salute to KF. Wells Stack is in the house. Salute to you, Wells Stack. Salute to you. Nanza Baz was in the house. There's a couple Ghanaians that showed up when we talked about the Ghana story. And you all have a great night. Oh, I see somebody saying that I think I've addressed this before. This is one of those Tariq people says that Black Americans are done with this Pan-Africanism. It's not for you. That's what I'm saying. The Pan-Africanism is not for the Blacks. It's not for y'all. Okay, don't worry about it. It's for Black people in Africa to integrate with the continent because we have our divided borders, and we're inviting our Caribbean brothers into it. If you want to be part of it, you can be part of it, but it's not for you. You are never the center of Pan-Africanism because you're not a nation. You're just a minority in the U.S. And I think the same guy was talking about, all he wants is for the Africans to go home. Well, what about the European travelers, the European people and the Southeast Asians that have come to the U.S.? We have the lowest migration rate to the U.S., even as a continent. The whole continent of Africa combined has the lowest migration rate to the U.S. The Indians by themselves and the Chinese by themselves outnumber us. So the reason you want us out of here, which I've explained this, is because we look like you and you can't make those excuses that you've relied on to mask your struggles and your inefficiencies. So the Black African is the exact, presents some challenges to your belief narratives that you cannot be Black and successful in America. This is what it's about. Even though they are not usually competing in the same spaces, our people that don't compete at the highest level, the kind of jobs they do, you guys don't even want to do it, right? You don't want to do the jobs that those people do. You don't want to drive Uber. You don't want to be a dishwasher. They don't mind doing that. You don't want to be a construction worker. They don't mind doing that. They'll do it. They'll do 2 or 3 of them. They'll be CNAs. Salute to you, Rick. So the black African will be a CNA, and be going to school in the evening so that he doesn't become a CNA for life, And the black African, will be the black African that breaks out will be a medical doctor or a lawyer or a doctor and all these other things that they end up becoming. Is a whole collective of individuals that are doing different things, but what is common amongst us is that we wake up and we go to work. We show up, we go up, we show the work, and we don't complain. And that is the reason why. So why if you say you don't want any immigrants in America, then you can make that point. Why are you single-handedly picking this particular group? And who says that you can't develop Africa unless you are in Africa? That's not true. Remittances from abroad is part of the development strategy. The less than 0.04% of Africans that have left the continent still send money back home. Those remittances help with our forex exchanges. It puts fiscal foreign currency into our economies. And those, if I argue, they help our economies a lot. Also, my Ghanaian group, WhatsApp group here in Dallas, built a whole medical ward in the eastern region of Ghana for one of our regional hospitals. They went there and they built a whole ward for them, using guys contributing as little as $50 here in the US. So they are doing things there. Are you doing things in the hood? When you leave the hood, you don't go back. Most of you don't ever step there because it's so dangerous, right? But at least we go back home. We visit. We go every summer. I'm about to go here in a couple weeks. We take our kids with us. Kids walk around the mall, no issues, no problems. Nobody's going to hurt them. So, yes, we are contributing. You don't have to do it on the ground. What's up, baby? Okay, I'll come and give it to you. Go get it from Nate. Go get Nate. Okay? So, the real development is, if the goal is that you want us to go there to develop, we're already making money here. We already have the means here. If you go home, you got to set up shop again. How can you help when you're just going back? And most repats go there through a transition. So you don't just uproot and leave, right? Most of them will have to plan it out and leave. And when they go, they do whatever they need to do. But even if you're here in the West, Ethiopia, the guys from Sudan and all these other countries, if you go to Western Union, there's a lot of money that is being sent from the US, from Europe, from the Emirates into Africa that helps stabilize our foreign currency, our exchange currencies and our rates. And these things really help our countries. So you can be here complaining about this and sitting into this uneducated and uninformed strategy that you've learned. But we are doing exactly what you're asking us to do. The only thing we're not doing is we're not leaving, and we'll never leave. Actually, like I said, my mom just became a permanent resident 2 days ago. Now, she's not going to stay here. She's only here for a little bit, but they are still processing permanent residency. Okay, she just became a permanent resident. What? Okay. Yeah, she just became a permanent resident. I got a letter here. I don't want to dox myself. Go get from Nate. Go to Nate. So, yeah. And he says, well, university get money from... No, we don't. We don't get any money from the IMF. The IMF gives you loans. IMF money is not free. You need to learn. Like, that's what I'm saying. You guys have... Because your education system, the hood education system is one of the worst atrocities that ever happened to humanity. It's horrible, okay? So this is how you have products like this. This is why I think I'm going to do Black Americans a solid and write you guys a whole curriculum. I'm going to write you guys a wide curriculum that you're going to use to homeschool your kids, okay? It's going to help you. Because why should if I sit here and keep criticizing you but don't offer you any solutions, then what's the point? So I will write you a curriculum that will help you, because every child in Africa, at least that has gone through our K through 12 education system, knows that the IMF is not all about grants. They give loans, okay? And these loans have to be paid back. What's up, baby? Yeah, go get from Nene. Nate, go Nate. Go Nate. All right, so I think I answered all the questions that needed to be answered. Yeah, Sarah, I agree. Yeah, sometimes you have to be very exceptional to get even admission into the universities because it's very limited. Nowadays, it's not as bad in Ghana. There's a lot more universities. I think there's like 7 or 8 of them. So it's accessible now. It's accessible now than it was during my time. It's a lot more accessible. Anyway, we'll wrap it up. Thanks for joining. Y'all have a great weekend. Did I miss something? I missed somebody's. All right. All right. Salute to you, the truth. Salute to you, my Ethiopian brother. Yes, sir, man. Addis is fire. Addis is fire. Love it.